because the role on Sugar, you had to rap. So they were like, just
so they
a
were
heads up, they
doubting.
were like, hey, Octopizzo has been auditioned for this and he has a lead because he's a rapper and this character is a rapper. I was like, oh, a rapper, you say? You want me to rap something? And I rapped. I remember Lupita got up and said, whoa, okay, dude, you can rap. But Octo, man, you're still my homie and I love his music. But I remember I walked out of that audition. I was like, if I don't get this role, I'll say a Jewy.
What's up, guys, and welcome to the Art Scene Show. My name is Chepto Ekboyo, and today we have Nick Ndenda, who calls himself an artist. But please, don't believe the understatement of his title. Welcome to the show, His Highness.
His Highness. In some other places, that could be interpreted in a very different way.
Definitely.
But thank you. Thanks for having me. Very, very excited to be here.
Karibu sana. So let's talk about your title.
Okay.
Actor. Playwright, script writer,
as well.
Painter. True. That one I didn't know at all. Director, TV and a radio host.
Yes. It's a lot.
In short, you're multifaceted.
Well, I like the fact that I like doing things that I'm interested in. And a very cool thing, I think it's about everyone in life. I'm glad that I managed to realize it. If you put just enough focus in something you're interested in, you can't fail in it. You will at first, but then you will get your footing and then everything will be fine.
Everything will just blow up.
Yeah, I'm glad that every single thing that I've done, like all those 2 titles, I put a lot of concentrated effort into making sure that I was really good at them. So I really like the fact that I've excelled in all of them.
Yeah. Your bio ni mzito sana. Anyway, let's start with your background.
Okie dokie.
Where did you grow up?
Grew up in Nairobi, in Langata, a bit of Karen and mostly Langata. Had 2 brothers. I was a very, very unpopular child. So unpopular. Number one, the kids in the neighborhood, they loved my brothers. My brothers are great.
They were more outgoing.
Yes, they were more outgoing. They loved playing with them. I once tagged along with my bros and I was literally told by the kids in the neighborhood, no, we don't like you. We want to play with your brothers. You go home. So I went home and I locked myself in the house until I was like probably 17 or something. So even in my family, because I was a very shy kid. I was a very shy and quiet kid. I remember Christmas when I was 10 years old, my literal auntie was like, who are you? I'm like, I'm a Victor's son. They're like, no, she has two boys. Like, no, she has 3. And I was like, oh my God.
This is the forgotten one. This is the quiet one.
And it's weird how life goes because like, how did I go from being this shy, obscure, very almost not noticeable guy to now suddenly being everywhere in front of people's faces? It's
the opposite of actually what your brothers were doing.
Right?
Wow.
But it was cool. That's life.
So when did you come out of this shell and what prompted that?
I think it happened in 2 phases. Phase 1 was when I was in high school. When I was in high school is when I joined drama. I was in Highway. Shout outs to High. I don't know whether it's still a good school, but anyway, story for another day.
Wrong people.
Back when I was in Highway, drama was a big deal. So getting into the drama club was really hard. And I knew I wanted to be an actor since I was 10. But I'd never done it. So I just walked into the hall and I was like, I'd like to act. And everyone looked at me like, fine, you Form 2 student, try your luck. And I was given those parts for, I would think I was a prop, like a tree or a lamppost.
Oh no, that was brutal.
But I was like, this is how you earn your stripes. You start from the ground. So I had no qualms with that. And then incidentally, there was a Form 4 student who was playing like a major role in the play, but he had to drop out because he wanted to focus on his studies. So it was like, they needed a tall person, and I was the tallest Form 2 guy there. So they were like, hey, I don't trust him, but give him the script. Hey, Nelly Shine, I literally won Best Actor Runners-Up.
Damn, how I could regret
Priests,
they
were like, okay. So yeah, after that now, I was made a school prefect in charge of entertainment. So now I had to be social in school. I had to be engaging with students. I had to go for functions. So I remember my confidence really started building up when I was in high school. Then now when I finished finished high school. The second phase was when I went to the theater because I just finished high school and I was like, I know I want to be an actor. I told my parents, they were like, okay, we'll give you 1 year. Try out this acting thing, see if it works.
They were that supportive.
Yes, my parents are super supportive. They ever since I was young and I told them that I wanted to be an actor at 16, I thought they were just like, he'll get over it.
Get over this
and
phase.
Then do something serious with his life. No, after 18, they were like, go ahead, bro. So I went to the theaters. I auditioned for 15 months. I got rejected 14 times. Mm-hmm. And then the 15th one I got in. And when I started acting at the theater, suddenly everyone just started... I don't know. I don't want to say I was pulling people because that sounds very narcissistic. I think I just.
But it's the truth. It's the truth.
This is how I think that there's something about my personality which I really appreciate. It's very engaging.
You're
and
like
very
a magnet.
Well, sometimes not for the right reasons, but other times, for sure.
And you started in radio. First or theater picked first?
So I did theater first because my first play was in 2005, in May of 2005, right? I hadn't even joined uni by the time. So I was just acting at the theater, KNT, then I got roles at Phoenix. Then I joined campus in September of 2005 to do journalism, which really, to be honest, the only reason I picked journalism was because I was like, if I get a degree in journalism, I can walk up to maybe an NTV and be like, can I be a news anchor? And then when I become a news anchor, I'll be famous enough and start acting because I'll look for producers and ninis. But
so it was strategic.
It was. I'm very intentional about everything I do. That's something I've done since I was like a teenager, with very good results. So radio came in like in 2007. In fact, radio was never something I wanted to do.
So how did you get into radio?
Well, the story is one Saturday morning. No, it was a Friday night. On Friday night, I'm drinking at the bar with my brother, and he tells me, yo, there's this new station opening up called Homeboys. I want to audition. Now, my brother, very, very charismatic. He was a very good speaker. So, he was very, very cool. So he tells me, take me to the audition, because when you go for auditions, you have to stand with a bunch of strangers, pretend that you're not nervous, trying to keep your cool. And it can be daunting.
And the lines are always extreme long.
And they're extremely long. So my brother just wanted company. I was like, I feel you. I've been to auditions. I know what that feels like. I went with him. We went there at 7 a.m, stood outside in the heat till about 9:45. That's when he was going into audition.
So 2 hours later.
Yeah, about 2 hours later, right? So my brother goes in and I'm like, all the best. And I turn around and then this lady stops and she's like, where are you going? And I told her, well, I was taking my brother for the audition because he wants to be a radio presenter. And she was like, Aki Maria, I will never forget you. Maria tells me, I've never forgotten these words. She just looked at me and said, okay, so you've been standing outside in the heat for 2 hours. The audition is in a room with air conditioning and it's 30 seconds. What do you have to lose?
Nothing.
And I was like, good point. So I was like, cool, write me up there. I went in, did the thing. I was told to talk about an artist I love. I was in love with Britney Spears. I still am Team Britney. That's what's up. Love that woman. Oh my God. So I talked about Britney Spears for 30, 40 seconds. I don't know. And then I left. My brother and I went home to Ndeda Life. On Monday afternoon, I'm in class. And then I get a call from DJ John. And he's like, yo, we want you to be a presenter on Homeboys. I was like,
you're like, surprise, how?
Okay. And then that's how I joined Homeboys. And I did radio for 13 years.
Let's take a few step backs to Britney Spears. So were you those guys of free Britney?
Absolutely. Aren't we glad?
What is it about this woman that you love?
Well, okay. We have to go through this in layers. First layer is Britney Spears, when she came out, she was 16 years old, okay? And she was hypersexualized, which is not cool. However, we love to look at Britney, though.
For the audience, it worked.
And then it was just the voice, the way she used to say, oh, baby, baby. It was just like, how was I supposed to know? I was like, how could you not fall in love with that voice? I had a tape. Baby One More Time, I had that album on tape.
Yeah. Then it used to be tapes.
Yeah, tape times when we went to CDs. Oops, I Did It Again. I had that album. And then with the one that had Radar, what's it called? Blackout. Yes. I love Britney Spears, and I'm so happy she's free now and she's living her best life. She's always posting topless photos on IG. I'm like, hey, do it.
Let's do it.
Do it, girl. That's what's up.
Getting to Homeboys, what did you spend your first salary on?
My first salary, alcohol.
Hey,
all of it.
Like a typical 20-year-old.
Absolutely. I was 20 what? I was 21 when I started working at Homeboys. So, and I was living with my parents. Yeah. Rent-free, meals, ziko apo. So I remember, but also, and I will go on record as saying this, my brother, Innocent, who told me this, he was like, your first salo, blow it. Blow it completely. Your first one.
Which it works.
Yes, only your first one.
Only your first one.
Blow it completely. Yeah. Yes, just like treat yourself, congratulate yourself for getting a job that's paying you some money. And then from second month now start being focused. Yeah. So yeah, in fact, I remember it was so bad. My salo, because this was back in the days of ATMs. Like you had to go to an ATM machine.
Did you have that Kaya account which every student had?
Oh no! May I open like a legit adult bank account, complete with a checkbook and everything, and I was being called Mr. whatever. And so I just used to go to the ATM and withdraw like a G, 2 Gs every day. By the 23rd of the next month, I went to the ATM and it said insufficient funds. Now, I had no money, none. That ATM was, let me just go ATM, I'll check a G, and I was supposed to go to work.
And you're not checking your balances on the ATM?
I was like, Nikona do.
But 20th, 23rd, you may last. Yeah, most people by 5th.
I know, right?
If you're being paid on, let's say, on 26th or 27th, by around 10th, 15th, Apple, nothing.
That's when you...
In January, man.
At least I managed to go till the 23rd. So I only had one very stressful week, which at least taught me, hey, dude, when you get money,
stretch it
out as much as you can. So that was a good lesson, actually.
Yeah. Then you moved to Hot 96.
Yes.
Now you're 25 years old and you're a breakfast host, stroke programs controller.
Yeah.
How was it playing those two roles?
It was
at a young age.
Right? Especially, by the way, because at that time, I remember, I was the youngest ever breakfast show host on a national radio station, which was like, oh, such a big deal. And it was cool. The thing I loved about Hot 96, why it worked for me was because at that time, it was a 90s-based station, and I was raised in the 90s, so I knew all the music from the 90s. I used to listen to a lot of radio. So even when I walked in there, like, everyone was very skeptical about me. Like, this young kid...
can he deliver, really?
But, you know, because I believe in myself, I came through, did some... I remember I used to do the drive show. I did it for, like, about 5 months, and then I was promoted to breakfast. And then the deputy programs controller thing happened by default. Sometimes it's a good thing kwa kichwa ngumu, because when I joined, there was so many things in that structure that weren't working. And I guess because I was 25, I was a little bit entitled. And then I was
You're also... like the rebellious one in this station.
Yeah, and because everyone always viewed me as such an outsider, like, when you kizungu yako yote, I'm like, oh, come on, shut up. So I used to send a lot of emails to the boss and complain about things. Sometimes I CC the head of the station.
Damn.
What's wrong with me? And then so the head of that station of 96, he left. So the deputy guy automatically became the head, and it was like, since you're always talking here and you feel like this should be changed, how about you try out this position?
Step up
like, yeah, and I was even also a copywriter. I used to write commercials.
Damn.
I used to do a lot.
So you're exposed pretty much early.
Which is, and it's also a lot of it is based on interest. Like when I'm very interested in something, I will really
invest in it.
I invest kabisa.
Then you moved to Radio Africa Group.
Yeah.
XFM with Farid. And he's like a rock guy. And then later you went to Kiss FM Afternoon Drive. So how was that dynamic? Was it like a promotion or a demotion, moving from a breakfast show to a station that ended to
because at first when I joined Radio Africa, when I joined Radio Africa, I was going to XFM, but at the same time that I was joining XFM, I was doing this show in South Africa called Jacob's Cross. So I was like, I couldn't commit fully. So they were like, I don't think you're serious about this job. So we'll just let you do your thing. So I was like, hiya, sawa. I did my acting thing. I finished in SA. I came back and they were like, the spot at XFM is no longer available. It was, but it wasn't. Because, you know, I understand management. I get it. But they were like, but there is this position at KISS. Now, this is a very sad, it's not sad, it's just true. Yeah. Initially, when KISS FM tried to poach me like years ago, when I was even at Homeboys, and I was always like, I'm not really feeling that station because I didn't feel the vibe of it. So I mentioned that at an interview to the HR. Not a smart thing to do. No. Not a wise thing to do at all. So when I went and I was like, can I get the thing at KISS? And they were like, it's not available, but... No, at XFM, they were like, X is not available, but there is KISS. What do you want to do, KISS? And I was like, okay. So I used to do a weekend show. Saturday morning and Sunday afternoon. It was all right. I did that for about 3 months. And then I was moved to Classic 105. Which is more like you again. A bit of 90s. A bit of 90s, 80s stuff. Which I also listened to. Problem was, I didn't sound like it. I remember everyone kept on sending messages and calling saying, this guy who's just Googling things and then coming here talking like he knows this music. And I'm like, I know it, you idiot. But so I was removed from Classic. But fortunately, the same time when I was removed from Classic, the position at XFM opened up again. And then I did the drive show, and then Farid up and left. And I was told, do you want to do the morning show? Which was cool because since I never wanted to do radio, when I joined Homeboys and we were asked, what's your goal? What do you want to achieve in radio? I remember telling them, I want to host a breakfast show on a rock station. At that time, XFM didn't exist. I was just putting it out there that I would love to do a breakfast show on a station that only plays rock music.
And the universe was receptive.
Exactly, man. The universe always, in fact, I was listening to something this morning on the way here and the guy was saying the universe always listens to everything you say. So watch.
It's a vibration. Yeah.
So I did that for 7 years. It was great. Won Best Radio Presenter twice. I was glad, made some really good connections, and it was amazing. I really loved my show. Anyone who listened to X Breakfast, thank you. That show was truly magical. I loved it.
Then you've campaigned more than KISS itself.
But KISS was also great because I went back to KISS after XFM was closed, and I got to work with Linda Nyangweso, and Linda is like my bestest of people.
She's such a vibe.
She is such a vibe. Like we used to have so much fun doing that show. In fact, sometimes I feel like we used to shortchange audiences. It never used to
be work for you.
Yeah, because when we were on air, sometimes because you have to promote a product or do an interview with someone, we had to do those. But the stuff we used to talk about sometimes off air, I was like, it was so gold, but it had too much profanity. So
you can't share that.
Can't share that, but it was great. It was a wonderful 2 years that I did KISS, and then I knew it was time to move. I could feel it, and I never ignore my body and my mind when it starts giving me signs like, okay, you need to move from this space to the next one. So that's what happened.
Yeah, and early 2021, you took a bow and you exited the station.
Yeah.
And as usual, us rumor mongers, we had you coming to Spice FM.
I almost did though. What
happened?
What happened was what we had discussed, like I was told what the job was, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay.
For which?
The drive show on Spice FM, which was going to be so cool because Monique and I go way back, like high school back.
Damn.
So, and we've always been saying, one day we should work together. One day we should work together. The moment I remember the head of that station told me you would be doing the show with Monique, I was like I'm sold.
Again, the universe is working.
I'm like, I'm sold. And then something happened during the final negotiation, and we just didn't see eye to eye. And I was like, see, force. I'm not a person of forcing things. I was just like, if it's meant to happen, it will happen. And if it's not, pia ni sawa. So, and it worked out for the better because when that didn't happen, literally the same month, I left Nairobi and went to Limuru. So I was like, how would you have been doing this Limuru to Mombasa Road every day?
Wouldn't have worked.
It would have been hectic.
Yeah. Will you ever go back to radio?
To radio? Justin Bieber taught me that you must never say never. However, I know it's a gift. I'm also a rapper, by the way. I'm so good. One day we'll nominate you for
you should add that in the
add that to that, Maze. I do things. So I would probably go back to radio, but it would probably be one of two shows. One, it would definitely have to be rock oriented, or if it's not rock oriented, it would be a countdown. I love countdowns. Like, I just love countdowns because of the energy, the psych. Last week this song was number 15. Whoa, this week it's number 8. People are loving it. Feedback. So one of those two. But like a regular kawaida show, I don't think so, because I also don't have the time right now. I'm doing so much other stuff.
You should start your podcast or something.
No, I tried.
Or a show on radio, like Rick D's, the way he counts down. I'm addicted to that.
Rick D's is awesome.
It's awesome. Yes.
Oh my gosh, so good, so good.
Now let's talk acting. As you've said earlier, you're on Jacob's Cross, but I want to rewind to earlier.
Okie dokie.
Was your big break Higher Learning or Suga?
I want to say it was Higher Learning, and I say Higher Learning because I had auditioned to be on screen for 5 years before I got my first TV role. From 2005 to 2010, I just used to go for auditions, Makutano, Tahiti High.
What's that Makutano? Used to have like a long line, and used to be the premium show that everyone
wanted to be on it. I tried, didn't get in. Guy Center, all them shows. I auditioned, I just never got picked. Even Higher Learning, to be honest. And this is how...
Was it like a pity pick?
Kind of. This is why it wasn't so legit, but for me, I was like, this was the universe giving me a shot. It's because Higher Learning, they'd already casted. Everything was ready. This show was going to be filmed on Monday. Now, on Friday, 2 days prior, I get a phone call, and I'm told, come for this audition on Saturday morning. Turns out, on Thursday night, the director of the show decided, I don't want this guy playing this role. Can you find anyone else? And this was the only criteria. I'm very honest about things because I know what happened. The character had to be someone who speaks English well, someone who sounds like they came from a posh family. So that's why I was recommended by, I believe she was one of the writers of the show, and she was like, there's this guy, it's called Nick. I'm like, call this Nick of yours. And I went through on Saturday morning and I did the audition. I remember the look on the director's face. It was more of, he actually speaks well.
Good English.
So that is what got me the in. However, I remember I got to the set on that Monday and I told myself, you've been trying to get into screen for 5 years. This is your opportunity. Do such a good job that everyone will always be calling you.
No one will forget you.
Exactly. And it's the same thing I did with theater. Because after auditioning for 14 months and getting rejected, when I finally got a chance, I said, I'll be so good in this play, I will never audition for another one. And I didn't audition for another play for like 10 years.
Wow.
Literally.
That's so powerful.
Yeah. So Higher Learning, I really put my best foot forward to the point that when Suga came around, I feel like I was able to get the role in Suga only because of how hard I worked on Higher Learning. And that hard work translated in Suga so well that it impressed the guys for Jacob's Cross because they were the same producers. They literally, on the last day of Suga, they were like, so this is a very important question I want to ask you. Do you think it's possible for you to like go to South Africa for a few months to shoot a show? That's how I left Hot 96, by the way.
And the way Jacob's Cross was a big Pan-African show.
Like,
it had some West Africans, most South Africans, and then you, a random Kenyan. You and Sharon Olang, a random Kenyan. Kenyans in that production.
But we did
so how was it working in SA?
It was great. I loved so many. One thing I loved was the food on set. There was always so much food, which is great because I
opposite of most Kenyan sets.
I mean, okay, Kenyan sets have food,
improving.
But they have like there's breakfast, there's lunch,
specific timings.
But then there was just always snacks around, juices. fruits, biscuits, sandwiches, samosas. I love samosas. So that was that. The shooting though was very interesting because we would rehearse a scene. We would rehearse a scene before they set up the lights and everything. Like they would set up the lights and cameras and everything based on how the director feels the actors are moving on the scene. So we'd rehearse it and then take a break for like 40 minutes. This guy's set up.
That's a freaking 1 hour break.
Like we used to shoot from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Never a minute after. Because overtime, they didn't.
You have to pay again overtime.
And they were very serious about that. It was cool. I almost died though.
Really?
Yeah, one time when we were shooting.
Happened?
So we were shooting this scene that was in an open field. It had been raining for the last couple of days, so it was about to start raining. And in that area, lightning strikes a lot. So the lightning kept getting closer and closer and closer. Because again, we rehearse and then we chill for like 40 minutes. And this guy set up. So the director came and told us, guys, no pressure. But you should get this thing in one take because you see that lightning keeps getting closer and one thing for sure is going to happen.
Guys are really gambling.
Someone is going to get struck. And the cool thing about that scene was we were shooting a scene where Jacob and I were being arrested. We're being chased by cops and then we get arrested. So we're scared to death. But the fear in our eyes was not acting. It was, we need to get the fuck out of here because we are going to get killed. We were so scared and we did that in one take and it looked so good, by the way, on camera. I loved it. It was so good. The DOP, camera guy, he rewarded us that day by taking us to a strip club. It was wild.
I went to SA a while back. Hey, should I say this on this podcast? I went to this strip club and they had a cover charge. Apparently, most clubs in SA, you must pay for the cover charge. And I was with a crew of Kenyan journalists. I'm not naming you guys.
Yes.
And these guys were really into the strippers. And we get to the club and those strippers were really beautiful. As a woman, I can appreciate they were beautiful.
That's what's up.
But they were lazy ass strippers.
Oh no.
They were not dropping it and giving the men what they wanted. They were like, society will leave a cover charge and it's not.
And you're here dropping it like it's lukewarm. Shame on you.
How was your experience?
It was wild because I had only seen strippers on TV, like white strippers. I mean, so seeing an actual white woman,
African now,
and then they had this thing where it was work, I'm sure, because they'd get excited when you see a black person, like, do you want to dance? And then they would call you these names that I know the like Zulu and whatever names for daddy, big man, stuff like that. So I was like, I don't understand, but you know what? White girl stripping, this is so insane. Oh my God. So that was memorable. Quite a night.
Okay. We diverted. Let's go back to MTV Suga.
Yes, Suga, that's where we were.
Now, Suga, I remember those auditions because I went for one of them. I don't know if it's the second one or the first one. But the lines, insane. Those queues were too long. Was it the same situation? You got like a VIP?
Now, again, I say I am either a child the universe loves, or it's really putting thoughts out there. Suga auditions, I never even heard about them. How I found out about Suga was through a girl I was dating then. She was a model. So they came to USIU and asked models, come and audition for this show because we want pretty people. So she was the one who told me, like, hey, tomorrow I'm going for a Suga audition. Remember that show that you said you really want to be in? Come with me and you can just pretend that you're
another tag along.
Yeah. So I go there and I'm like, cool. And then they're like, if you are not, Kumbe, they had their names. If your name is not here, and remember it was Antonio Sol who said it. It was just like, if you know your name is not here, don't waste your time. Just go because
and show to you.
So I was like, oh shit, there's no way I'm getting in here. But since I was there with my then girlfriend, I was like, I have to keep her company. So I'm there with that kidogo. And she just keep on saying, no, you can try. Maybe talk to Anto, because I didn't really know him, but now he knew me because he'd seen me on Higher Learning. So he literally told me, are you on the list? I told him no. He was like, say less. He grabbed my hand. As soon as someone got out, he he just pushed me in and said, oh, this guy, I forgot to write his name, but he's one of the people. And I was just thrown in. Shout out to Antonio Sol, man. So I went in and I did the audition. I was nervous, I was confused. I didn't even think anything was going to happen because I felt so underprepared for it. And then they called me the next week for the callback audition. I was like, okay, now let's be more intentional. And I went in, did the thing, called me back the week after. I was like, now I have to get this role. Imagine they auditioned 800 people for that role. It got down to 2, me and Octopizzo.
Now this is the third
This was
audition. The fourth shortlist.
Yeah, because we did the first one. The second was a week after. The third was we were partnered with people, and I was partnered with my friend. And then now the final one is when it was Lupita, the director, and the producer for Kenya, Allison. And that's the one where now the things that
it was you and Octopizzo.
Yeah, well, we didn't audition on the same day, but I was told the only other person, and the reason why they told me was because the role on Suga, you had to rap. So they were like, just so a heads up, they were like, hey, Octopizzo has been auditioned for this and he has a lead because, he's a rapper and this character is a rapper. I was like, oh, a rapper, you say? You want me to rap something? And I rapped. I remember Lupita got up and said, whoa, okay, dude, you can rap. But Octo, man, you're still my homie and I love his music. But I remember I walked out of that audition. I was like, if I don't get this role, I'll say what Jewy.
I'll say what me lose.
2 days later, they got me in the show, and even the song I performed, I wrote it the night before we shot it. Wrote it, recorded it, everything. The next day performed it, and it's such a good song.
Are you making royalties through the song?
No, it was never released commercially like that. But now I'm working on actual music with a bunch of people, so
we shall wait for the music. After blowing up in this acting scene, we are forgetting you're also a veteran on stage with over 30 leading roles on stage.
That's a lot.
And then you co-wrote and directed 3 Back to Basics plays. What is it about stage that makes you keep going back? Compared to most actors who, after I have succeeded on screen, I stick to the screen. You're not going to see them on stage. What keeps you going back?
I love the moments and the discipline that comes with being on stage. Because when you're doing screen, you have the advantage of, you can do it again. Even if the take was really good, you can ask for another one and do it again. With theater, the moment it starts, the moment that universe begins, it has to run until it ends. Yeah. No matter what happens, it cannot stop. So it forces you to be super present. And I used to be, I don't think I am as much anymore, but I was a huge overthinker growing up. So I was never present. I was that guy who would sit like this, but in my mind, I'm thinking like 6 weeks from now or 5 months ago. So I like the fact that theater forces you to be very, very present. To be
here and now.
Yes, no, forget about the person whose phone is ringing. And please, if you're going to go watch a play, switch your damn phone off or just put it on silent. You're not that important.
It's so disrespectful.
2 hours of your life will come on. So I like how it forces you to be present, to be there in the moment. And then there's this rush that I get personally just being on stage. I feel like it really allows you to be very free, very open. Because I'm not I'm not saying that I'm not shy in public. I'm just like, I don't mind being vulnerable in front of people. For me, I don't think it's a weakness. It's actually quite a strength.
It's a strength, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk 18 Hours. A dope movie. And I remember Brian Ogola was here and he told me when he was shooting that freaking movie, he was having life issues. Like he was going through something. And while shooting it, those life issues made him perform better. The crying part, the emotional part, he was just channeling from his real life situation. How was it for you shooting this award-winning film?
Again, okay, so I should have actually started by this when I told you about my life. I don't believe in coincidence. I believe in providence. a lot of things in my life seem coincidental, but they're not. For example, this is how 18 Hours began. In 2012, I got an inbox from Njue Kevin, the director. At that time, he was a KU student who hosted a rock show. Right?
Rock, and then you're
so he sends me an inbox and he's like, yo, I love your show on XFM. I also do a rock show on KU radio. I'd love for you to be a guest. I hope you'll read this message. I know you're a popular blah, blah, blah. You probably won't. I saw the message, I replied, I was like...
And he's downplaying himself even without you replying.
Yeah, and I was just like, when do you want me to come through? And I remember it was on 20th of October because it was a public holiday. And I went through, we did the show at 7 in the morning. I went all the way from Westlands to KU on a public holiday, did the show. And then now after, when we're just talking, it's like, by the way, I write movies. I'd like to write a movie one day and have you act in it. So I told him, write it and I'll be there. To be fair, I was like, I've heard that phrase before, so I didn't pay it.
You didn't take it
mind. I was just serious. Like, yeah. And then, 2012, 2013, 14, 15, 2016, he hits me up. Is like, remember that conversation about this movie? I was like, yeah, here's a script. He sent me 18 Hours. I read it. I was like, dude, when are we shooting this? And he's like, I'm still looking for the money, but are you down? Yeah. So for 8 months, I had that script before we filmed it. And for those 8 months, I remember binge watching a lot of documentaries about paramedics. Prior to shooting, I spent some time with St. John's Ambulance, learned a little bit of first aid. So
you are really invested in this.
I am always, if I'm interested in something, I will invest. That's just a me thing. So when we got to shooting, it was such an arduous task. I even had to take like a whole month off from radio to shoot it because we were shooting in Machakos mostly, and it was night, and a lot of I compartmentalize myself when I'm doing roles. Like, I don't like the idea of having my personal self seep into a character to help me reach that. What I will do is I will create as much of a world for this character that whatever emotion is needed, I will be able to draw it from that without having to be like, okay, let me think of time. I mean, there are different practices, whatever works for you, whatever floats your boat. But personally, if there's one thing I cringe whenever I hear an actor talk about it, or I hear an actor being told, is think of a sad time in your life. And I'm
think of a horrific thing.
I'm like, why do you want someone to relive a trauma that they have successfully gone past for the sake of a fucking scene?
No.
I'd be like, no. So for me, that's not how I work. I'd be like, if this character is sad because of a death or something, I'll be like, okay, let's dig into this character and find this relation. Why would this death be not so? Even if you have to create like a whole other family, which you won't mention
like
in the
background story,
like a backstory. It's so important. Even the backstory you're given, it's not enough. It's just a guideline.
Yeah.
It's also now your own personal homework of okay, let's think deeper. They say this character walks with a limp because he was injured. How was he injured? What was he doing? Why? How could he have avoided that? Stuff like that. And that's actually a really fun part about acting. Character development. Yeah. Character development, guys. It's a thing. It's the best.
You should start a class on that.
All right.
What was the best moment shooting the film?
Best moment, 18 Hours, I think it was, it couldn't have been the outside scene, that was so much work. Was it, but it was good work? Yeah, okay, so yeah, the opening scene of the film when we get to the accident scene, I mean, it's such a short scene, it's like probably 3 minutes, we shot it for 7 hours, and then something was wrong with the color or something, so we had to do all of it all over again the next day. Now, this was why it's my best, because I remember I went home after the first day and I was like, that line, you should have said it like this because you were rushing. Because, also we had rehearsed it, but we'd only rehearsed it, ile tuya, okay, the camera will be there, and you guys will react. But then when we were shooting it and the people were reacting, because it's like so many things happening, I was a bit taken aback. Okay. And then I also remember, and this is very embarrassing, I remember I was wearing mismatched socks on the first day. So because of how it was filmed, I was on the floor and my shoes were both off. So I remember the camera was sweeping and I was thinking, no, why did I pick today?
So there were a lot of things that were not working.
Yeah. So when I was told we have to shoot it again, I was like, yes.
Redeeming yourself.
I redeemed myself. Yeah. So that was a beautiful scene. And I think I really loved the chemistry that Brian and I had. Because that was the first time I'd never met him until the audition. In fact, that was the first time I met Brian when he came to audition for 18 hours. So I like how we managed to bounce things off each other, and we'd always because it was just always me and him. So we managed to develop a cool rapport. And he's such a cool dude. We've been friends since.
Yeah, I was with him at the MVCAs, and yes, in 2018 when they were receiving the 3 awards. And then that same night, Likarion, Nice Wanjeri, and someone else. It was a six Kenyans. We brought home 6 awards.
Big night for Kenya.
It was the best moment ever.
So. My mom called me
because all of us, we were like, "No, this can't be." They're like, Kenya, and then the movies. You're like 18 hours. The Nigeria guys are like, what do you mean 18 hours? What is this?
Mimi niliwambia, I swear, and this is a true thing. Even Jue and Rugoro, the producers, can testify. I remember when I watched that movie, when it premiered in November of 2017, and I remember I watched it and I told them, guys, this movie is going to be the best movie in Africa next year. And they're like, no, don't say that. At least we did good work. I was like, no, guys, I haven't watched any other movie, but this shit is really good.
It was really nice. It swept the whole evening.
Yeah, and it was so cool. I remember I was at a club. I was at the Alchemist that night, and my mom called me, so like, you just won best movie in East Africa. I'm like, thanks, mom. Then like an hour later, she called me like, it's won best movie in Africa. I'm so happy. I'm so proud. I was like, yeah. That time I'm dying. It's like
probably high or tipsy.
I was His Highness at the time, but it was a great night. We celebrated. It was cool. Yeah.
Let's talk TV. You are the host of the Great Kenyan Bake Off. Currently on BBC Lifestyle. And also What's Good Africa. And these are pretty much lifestyle shows. What makes you gravitate to such easy peasy show? They're not as hard, boring.
Here, one thing I know for sure is I didn't want to host a music show. Not the conventional Kenyan music shows where you just... Not the conventional... You know these Kenyan music shows.
Yes.
So... I'm like, that's one thing I told myself when I first started thinking about ever hosting on TV, because also it's not a thing I thought about. Acting was my thing. So again, is it a coincidence or is it providence? You tell me. The Great Kenyan Bake Off, I only got that gig because the accountant for the production company that was shooting the Great Kenyan Bake Off, she overheard a conversation with their bosses, and their bosses were like, we can't find a male host for this show. We already have a female. We have like 2 women who we know can kill it easily. Yeah. But why can't we find a guy? Kwani there no guys who are, witty, blah, blah, blah. And then the accountant's like, what about Nick Ndenda? And they're like, who's that? Like, this guy, I listened to him on the radio on XFM. Again, the same way with Hayalani.
I swear this is providence.
You call that Nick Ndenda of yours. That surely sent me a Facebook message, but he was very vague. He was like, would you ever consider hosting a cooking show? I looked at it, I was like, Mke nyumbani? Nah. I ignored it.
Yani, you downgraded the freaking show
it's because of the language. It's a language used like, hi, Nick. My name is so-and-so. I can say her name because she's cool. Washera, I love you. And like, my name is Washera. I was wondering, would you ever want to host a cooking show? So it was
I can drop BBC. I could drop anything. So make you be alert.
And I just ignored. And then 2 weeks later, she found me, because that was on my Facebook. And then she found me on Twitter. And I was like, I want to know whether you want to do a cooking show. I asked her, what kind? It's like, no, it's a baking show. Will I have to bake? She's like, no. Then she was like, have you ever watched The Great British Bake Off? I was like, I've heard of it.
Oh, it's
like,
awesome.
So yeah, we're doing a Kenyan version. I was like, what else have you done? Then they showed me their portfolio. I saw, you guys did Rico Water Flavor, Lions Den. I was like, say less.
The production is going to be top notch, definitely.
Yes, I showed up. I remember that audition. I walked in. I was like, I'm going to get this. And then when I was told, you might be hosting it with June and I love June. I used to watch at Phoenix acting. I was like, I have to get it. And got there, we did the Great Kenyan Bake Off, and it was amazing. And the contestants were so nice. And also, by the way, this shit is not easy. Here's the thing about like those kind of shows, because baking in itself takes a while. Like most of the challenges take about 3 hours. Now, when you're seeing on TV, you're always seeing us talking like, oh, so what are you doing now?
A lot of cutaways.
Yeah, because a lot of cutaways. So you might be inclined to think that we just sit and watch them cook and then you go kidogo. We literally were on our feet just going around the whole time, because we have to keep the psyche, because
alive.
you know, if it's too quiet in the tent, guys are just cooking, it gets boring. So we always had to be there cracking random jokes, in fact, there are so many sketches. Each episode of the Great Kenyan Bake Off has like 2 sketches that June and I would do. Most of them never make it to camera, to the show. But we just do them to psych people up. Like, we used to do some ridiculous stuff on that show. So that was cool. That's how I ended up on the Great Kenyan Bake Off.
What's good, Africa?
What's good, Africa? You tell me, is this coincidence or is this providence?
Aye.
The day I finished, we finished shooting the Great Kenyan Bake Off on a Friday. Okay? Friday nimetoka Limuru. Come back to Nairobi. I get a call from a homie of mine called Baraza, rest in peace, cool dude. He tells me there's this event called a LAN party. It's for video gaming. So he wants me to host it. It's 18 hours of just psyching up guys who are playing video games nonstop.
It's like a marathon.
Yeah, from like 1 p.m. till 6 a.m. the next day. So I'm like, I love video games. How much are you paying me? Nick, Najua. I was like, sawa. You know, you're my homie and I love games. So I go and I do the thing. And I'm like, because I remember I was still high off the hosting from the Great Kenyan Bake Off, because we did that for a whole month.
Yeah.
So I'm there. It's like 4, 5, no, it was like 6 p.m. I've been on my feet, psyching people up. This lady comes up to me and is like, hey, I really like the way you're hosting stuff. Could you do a short thing for my company, What's Good Studios? Just like, what's going on? I'm like, cool, give me the mic. I do the thing, I talk. She's like, wow, you should host a show. I didn't tell her about the Bake Off. I was like, oh, you think I can host a show? She's like, yeah, in fact, there's this show we're working on. We have a female host, but we just can't seem to find a guy who is charismatic, who can do this. I'm like, what's the show about? It's like, it's not a music show, it's an art show. We're just checking out, but it's not the mainstream artists. That's the thing that really got me. I was like, oh, not the mainstreams. Then she mentioned some guys like Bakita, Karun. I was like, oh yeah, those are guys I love, and they're not usually played on radio
and
or on TV.
At the same time, they're not underground.
They're not underground, yeah. They have like, they're those people who...
They're specific to a certain niche.
That's what it is, right? So I was like, what do you need me to do? They're like, just come through, do a screen test with Remy. Pause. Remy Majala, I met her in 2010. We used to live in Langata together. But we didn't know, we know each other like, you're the chick on K24, you're the guy on Homeboys and whatever. And one time we exchanged messages on Facebook, like, one day we should work together. I was like, yeah, it would be so cool. Providence comes through. We did that screen test. Right there, the producer was like, no, we're going with the 2 of you. And we have to start shooting this show as soon as possible. Are you down? Hell yeah. Did the thing. Next thing we did the show, Revolt NTV. And Remy is so good. Yeah. Even the crew, the whole crew from What's Good, such fun guys. Like, I like that I gravitate towards people who like the fun but are also about the work, because you have to put in the work.
Definitely. Now you're venturing into music. Specifically, you did your first music video script.
I wrote a music video.
Forbidden Fruits by Mandy. Yes.
I love you, Mandy.
And I remember release picture hapo as usual, rumor mongers. You're dating the...
But you know, Mandy. It's weird. I was like, why would you think that no one said in the caption anything about dating?
Yeah.
Like, don't jump to conclusions. It was just a nice photo, and I really meant everything that I said. I think Mandy is so amazing. I
watched the video. I'm a Kamini stalker. Yesterday I was going through your bio and I clicked the music video. I'm like, this is dope, and you should direct more. Actually, script more.
I should script more. I've scripted another video. It should be coming out soon. It's by an artist called Mutoria.
I think I know Mutoria.
It's a beautiful song.
Is it like a Kikuyu rock?
I believe so. I've heard like two of his songs. Some kind of mellow. So this one is called Wedding Song. It's super romantic. Fun fact, I'm a hopeless romantic.
Oh.
Pretty Woman was my favorite movie for like,
definitely.
my God, for so long. It still is. Like, I have 3 favorite movies: The Matrix, Grease, Pretty Woman, all for different reasons. So writing more music videos and doing more fun stuff. I like doing fun stuff.
This thing called Marriage, which started as a music video, you're a character in that music video.
Yes.
Then it evolved to a web series. I have looked for it. How can I watch it first? And then you give us more about the series.
So this thing called Marriage, you can find it on YouTube. However, the easiest way to find it is search this thing called Marriage and then type TTCM after that, like the initials.
I think that was the mistake I made.
Yeah, because there's a Nigerian...
the Nigerian one were popping up.
Yeah. So that's how it can disappear. So, but also find me on Instagram, follow the link in my bio, and it'll lead you right to it. But anyway, so yeah, this thing called Marriage, it started off as my good friend Chichi Say did this amazing song called Milele, and I was so honored to be the guy in the video because she was like, I want an actor, I just don't want a pretty boy. I was like, oh, so thank you for telling me that I'm not pretty, but okay, girl. No, but it's cool though. So we shot the video all night, and then we realized by like 3 a.m. that we had shot so much footage, and I'm like, this video is 3 minutes long. What are we going to do with the rest of it? Then she was like, we should use it to create something. And because Chichi is also a writer, she used to write TV shows as well. We sat down, I think we wrote that thing in one day. And we just we bounced ideas. We're like, you remember that thing we shot for that scene? We can make an episode and call it this and write this stuff. And then the approach that we use, like talking to camera, like you're talking to your friend. So genius. And then Moses Ouma was so good at directing. So I love this thing called Marriage. I think it's also weird that it was so oddly therapeutic because at the same time when this thing... Okay, we wrote this thing called Marriage before I separated with my wife, but it was released after the separation had happened.
Okay.
So it was very easy for a lot of people who assume that, you'll shoot something on Monday and it's on TV on Tuesday. They were like, so this thing is like you talking about your marriage. I'm like, no, we were just literally talking about marriages in general because we were consulting our married friends because Chichi was also married at one point. So there was just a collection of thoughts and conversations that we've had with married people. And it really did help me understand a lot of the things that happened in my own marriage. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, by the way, I did used to do this and I used to wonder why the reaction was always this. So it kind of also helped put some things into perspective. And also it looked really, really good. And we're working on a second season, which...
The first web series was how many episodes?
9.
That's vast.
We did 9 episodes. We want to do another 9. Cheza like 9, 10 there. It depends. Vile tuna feel.
But now at least this second season is very intentional.
Much more intentional.
Much more deeper.
Yeah, exactly. Because this time round we actually have to shoot those scenes according to the script. First one was we already had scenes. So we had to build a script based on those scenes. But it's going to be nice. We have been talking about some very wild ideas and great locations. So
can't wait.
It's going to be nice.
Let's talk about marriage itself. As you've earlier said, you were married. I was one of those people assuming she was your girlfriend.
Yeah, I don't know why people thought that. Like, we literally even used to mention on the YouTube channel that, my wife... Like,
you went to the AGs and completed the whole thing?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a legit marriage, the kind that you have to dissolve with a divorce.
So now, are you still divorcing?
We're in the process, yeah. It takes a bit of time, but yeah. But it's for the better for everyone, so... but marriage is very, very eye-opening. Like, I think one thing that I was grateful for was the fact that even before we got married, we had lived together for a while. So it wasn't, oh my God, you're surprising me with this. I didn't know that you're like this. I didn't know that this is what you...
Like you had most of the idea of what was going to happen in the marriage itself.
Yeah. It's the cohabiting bit. Yeah.
Then you guys shot a video which went viral. What were you thinking when you guys decided to do it? Because when guys watched it, they were like, he's a simp. Why is he just there sitting?
I was called the biggest simp in Kenya. Mpaka Amerix was like, dude, I was DM'd. I was like, dude, do you need help? We can help you. Masculinity Saturday, my G. I was like, miss me with that shit. But anyway,
what was going through your mind when you guys decided to shoot this?
The reason for that was because it was very public knowledge that we were together.
Yes.
So if I were to be seen somewhere with another woman getting all hugged up, cuddly, or she gets seen with a dude and they're like on a date,
like cheating,
people would run. Yeah, exactly. And then that would be the narrative. And then now it starts to become, no, it was even like, oh, how come you guys never said? So it was literally
it's a he, she say kind of.
Yeah, we did it just to clear the air so that if you see me out there without a ring, if you see her out there doing whatever or nini, like, just know that we're not together anymore. And also because we had a YouTube channel together. So like if you stopped seeing me there, guys would start asking, hey, kwani Nick Ndenda?
Guys would speculate.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the main reason why we did the video. But you know, Kenyans will always have a way of taking
definitely a way of flipping the story that was meant to be pretty much so simple.
Oh, it was insane.
Then there was the vasectomy story. And guys were saying, oh, he did this for her. And now they have broken up. Now he's this lonely simp.
Wow, like that sounds so verbatim.
So
like it was right there. I think that's literally how it was.
That's literally what people were thinking or saying in different words.
Yeah.
What made you decide you don't want to have kids?
Because I don't. That's it. Like,
because you know, most people say, oh, maybe he had a bad experience childhood.
No.
Maybe there's so many speculations that you've actually said very simply.
My childhood was dope. Like even being at home all the time, it was pampered. I was a last born. Life was good. No, I just like, and it's like I have nothing personal. Like I don't dislike children. I hang out with my nephews that are amazing. Anytime I'm hanging out with kids or I'm shooting with them, it's cool. I think maybe I'm just one of those people who like kids when I can give them back to their owners. Like I will.
You just want to stay with them for a while and then
have fun and be like, okay, time for you to
go back to your mama or your parents.
But I love cats. I do. Oh my God.
How many cats do you have?
I had 4.
Damn, those are many cats. I'm just thinking about the amount of fur they're gonna leave everywhere.
Do you know this jacket? Until today, I haven't lived with a cat. I haven't lived with a cat for like 8 months now, but it's still
I can still
like
see
all
some,
my clothes were cat, and I loved it. I love the fact that I was always, because cats are so adorable. Like they just come chill with you. When they're done with you, they're like, okay, let me go be cute over there. I'm like, you be cute over there. When you need someone to stroke you, holla at your boy. I love cats.
Oh. Are you now in a relationship? Are you taking a break?
I am just out here trying to work and trying to understand myself. And also just, I mean, I am trying to be out there and just improve. Taking stuff a day at a time, improving my relationships with people. So far, so good.
Okay. Are you guys still friends, you and your ex?
Yes, we are. We are very good friends. And because also, it's cool that we started as friends and then
it ended on a positive note.
Yeah, like it wasn't a acrimonious type of thing. How it ended, it was just you do your thing, So we're still friends. We talk every now and then. I visit when I can. Because also the cats are cool. It's always good to see them. So but we're cool. I'm glad that we're cool, actually. Yeah, because I have had exes who's tried to kill me. So, and not just one.
Tell us more.
So, this one time, this girl tried to stab me.
No.
Because she thought I was cheating on her. Because I came to her house to break up with her. And she was like,
it has to be more.
Breaking up with me because you're cheating on me, aren't you? And I was like, in hindsight, why would you break up with a woman in the kitchen? I would have waited to come to the living room.
Yeah, in the living room.
Because I just remember she grabbed the knife and she was like, dude, I'm going to kill you. Like, and I knew, well, the reason why she, at the time when we were dating, this is a long time ago, I was like 22. And she was very unhinged because she had been in a very not so good relationship that left her a bit traumatized. So she was very volatile. She would always react with violence.
She was ready to fight at
and that was
time.
the reason why actually I was trying to break up with her, because she'd gotten me involved in so many fights. But I was like, I know this ain't working. I was almost stabbed. I was chased because I jumped out the window. And then I was chased by, there were some guys who used to sit in a corner, Apokwa Base, where she lived. I'd never greet these guys when I went there by myself. When I was with her, because she would greet them, then I'd be like, yeah. But when I was alone, I just walk, look down, don't make eye contact. So this time I've jumped out the window and I'm like trying to run. And then she just tells those guys, say. I was chased by like 7 dudes. I remember just seeing a matatu. I was like, get into that mat. I ran. The mat guy sees me, sees a bunch of guys. Kanza kufunga mlango. I was like, no, please help. These guys are trying to kill me. And then I guess it's because I was speaking in English and I was in a place in Eastlands.
So they're like, definitely, like, this is not his environment.
Yeah. The conductor was like, hey, unakuja huku Islando, unadhani. I was like, no, man. If you knew what brought me there. She was a lovely girl, though. She is a lovely girl. Kwani, why am I talking? She's not dead. She's actually, and the cool thing is, we made up a few years ago. She got in touch with me. She said, I'm sorry about what happened. I was going through a phase. She's much better
Forget
now.
the old me.
Yeah, I was like, we're cool. So shout outs to you, Lynn. You're cool. She's very cool now.
In your next relationship, will you be as open as the previous one? Because this is you and your ex's relationship was the first time you came out publicly and showing
will I
that
make it public?
Yes, will you make it public?
Absolutely not. And
will you want to get married again?
I'm not close to the idea. I'm not like, oh, I've done that. I'm never. No. I always tell myself, when you meet someone,
you just never know.
You never know. Like, even when I met Mudoni, it was, she told me, like, the story she kept telling me, and it's even in one of the videos we did, like, apparently we met 6 months before I thought we met. And we even spoke, and that she was telling me, like, you don't remember. I'm like, I don't remember that day. But I was like, the day I thought we met the first time, I remember I didn't have to speak to her. But I remember I saw her and I was like, Ebu, talk to that girl, ask her, maybe she'll know more, because I was looking for directions at a place where she worked. And there were 3 other people I could have asked. But somehow, something just made me zero in on her. Yeah. And I went like, hi. And then next thing we're talking, next thing, slide in the DM. And next thing, you know.
Marriage, next thing, friends.
I'm telling you, this life.
Hey, life can show you stuff. But at least yours is on a positive note.
There have been many negatives, but because like the things that the death threats, the attempts, the robberies, I've lost like 15 phones.
Robberies. Hey, this
jacked.
Relationship of yours.
Oh, well.
They're on the extreme side. Some of them.
Yeah, I've had very extreme things happen. Like I've lost like 15 phones, and about 10 of them are through getter, pickpocketing, roughed up, like weird shit. I'm just like, who are you attracting? So nowadays I'm putting out better vibes out there. I've had the phone I've had for almost a year. Let's hope it stays.
Definitely. You are currently fundraising for your new production.
Yes.
Midnight Van.
Yes.
What is the production about? And how can guys support it?
So Midnight Van, it's a story. It's a story about how Kenyans react to politics to information regarding politics and also subsequently elections. The backdrop of it, one would argue, it's a movie about post-election violence. Really, but not really, because it's just about how the media will pass information during election season, and sometimes the way we interpret it as citizens leads to things like post-election violence. It leads to apathy. So I wrote this film with the intention of just showing Kenyans that why do we act like this whenever this situation comes around election season. So it's more a short film about the human condition than it is about politicians and elections. That is the situation happening, but it's also a lot about introspection. Look at ourselves. Look ourselves in the mirror. Is the thing that I'm trying to have as the main message of this film. Like, let's look at ourselves and look at how we consume information regarding politics, because we need to change the mindset. I hate the way every political season, everyone always says the same thing. Kuna elections, I won't invest. Kuna elections, I'm going to travel. Kuna elections, there'll be violence. Kuna elections, suddenly your friend becomes Ule Mjaluo, Ule Mkikuyu.
Which is all actually happening right now.
It's exactly like it all, and that's the thing. It always happens when I was working on radio, because I was on radio for 3 election seasons: 2007, 13, 17, 18. It was 17, and I remember we used to have a phrase for it. We literally used to call it "silly season," because Kenyans become silly. You forget that you have friends, that you have partners, you have relationships, and now it's just tribal lines. Me, I support this guy. Anyone who doesn't like him, I don't like that person. And I'm like, stop being silly. Elections wisha, and then there's all this dark period, and then eventually when things go back, then you remember that.
Then you remember we're
you know, I'm like, I just want to try help change mindsets, and the only way to do that is through introspection. You can't change something you don't know is wrong with you. My parents, no, I wouldn't say my parents. My parents are woke. Shout outs to my parents. But I have relatives, aunties and uncles who are like, because I'm a Luo, and they're like, me, I can't do business with a Kikuyu. And I'm like, what
makes you think?
I'm sure there's a Kikuyu who fucked you up years ago. Sawa, I get it. I may have been screwed over by Luos. That wouldn't make me self-hate. I've been screwed over by cows, Kalenjins, whichever. But I'm like, that was that person. It wouldn't make me have this this mentality that this is how they all are.
They all are,
Because it's very dangerous if you have that, because they say that your thoughts, your repeated thoughts will become your habits. Your habits will lead to your temperament. Your temperament leads to your personality trait, and that becomes your character.
Definitely.
And we can't have people who are just always of that kind. So I'm trying to change the mindset, and that can happen if people watch the movie, but we have to shoot the movie. So what we're currently doing is just trying to get funding for it. And we have GoFundMe account. There's also an Mchanga.
Ebu Sema that Mchanga numbers.
The Mchanga pay bill number and the account is right below. It's probably over here or over here.
It's somewhere here.
It's there. But also, if you just go to my Instagram at Nick Ndenda or Nice Gidinji at Nice Gidinji, you will find the links that will take you to
the GoFundMe.
To the GoFundMe as well as the Mchanga, and you can just donate whatever amount you have, because crowdfunding is, it's all a collective thing, and we want this movie to go all over Kenya. That's why we even want to translate it into different languages, so that before
then it's for free. You're giving guys for free.
We're not trying to sell this movie. We're doing this because there's this civic responsibility, which we used to be taught this way back in school. I don't know whether it's still done, but civic responsibility is such a big thing. Like, where I'm not of the school of thought of me, Nikisha Umoka, I don't care about anyone else. I'll go buy my house in Karen, build a big fence, and life is good. I'm like, no, we're all in this Kenya together. We breathe the same air, drink the same water even. So if we can collectively just change and make this country better, man, it's weird how
we are gonna benefit from it.
We're gonna benefit. Our kids are gonna benefit from it. Like, you know, it hurts me the way people outside of Kenya in Africa view Kenya. They're like, "Oh my God, you're from Kenya. That country. It's so modern. You guys are so." And I'm like,
I wish you were living here.
Which Kenya you talking about, bro? The Kenya I'm from, the one with the. And that no, so yeah, let's make let's make Kenya great. Yeah, it was. Has it ever? Okay, it was great before colonialism. So yeah, let's make Kenya dope, livable, a place we want to be proud of. Like, if you want to know, I believe in this country. I believe in this country. Am I proud of it? Most of the times, not so much. And I always say the day I will be proud of this country is the day you will see me wearing those Kenya.
Like a wristband.
I respect the hell out of everyone who wears them because I'm like, I like that. But for me, I've tried putting it on and I feel kidogo like, apana. But that means I'm supporting all the nonsense that happens around here, which is more than the good. And at least let's start with getting a balance because bad stuff will always be there. Corruption will always be there. Those things will never go away, but they shouldn't be the dominant thing. Whenever you think of Kenya, corruption, land, this, blah. I'm like, I wish we could even
like
go
when
back
you
to the
Google.
days of talking about Kenya, wildlife, Masai Mara. You know, I miss those
Mombasa.
days, right?
Yes.
Hakuna Matata. What happened to Hakuna Matata days, man? Squeezy kuna matata kila mahali. Mpaka there's a whole band called Matata. That's how messed up shit is. Yo. Oh my God.
Thank you so much, Nick, for coming. Imagine we are done just like that.
Just like that?
Just
wow.
like that.
That was quick.
Karibu tena.
Thank you very much. And thank you. You look very nice.
Thank you.
You're a cool host. Isn't she the best?
Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe and I will see you guys next week.